Okay, so VR has. Okay, let's talk about meta. Let's talk about meta. Let's talk about meta. Let's talk about meta. Star Raptor has been seeing a uptick in usage, obviously because of the Brazilian player who lives in Japan. I think it's Yoshima JP. I think that's what they go by. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. My fault. Star After he has been seeing some crazy usage because it had some decent matchups in the meta currently. And then once you see that uptick, you'll see other things uptick as well, right? To beat it, right? Because it's just what's trending. That's usually what happens at BTC. We make teams to beat what's trending, and then the trending team is trending, and then that's like what everybody's using, and somebody has like a team that beats it, right? And then people start using that, and then whatever. So you have like a couple teams, right? Delphox balance, Blastoise stuff has fallen, right? Has fallen tremendously because of uptick usage and stuff like Annihilate balance-ish team. There was another team as well. The weather primal yada 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 team, right? And it also doesn't have a good match. Actually, it does have a pretty okay match into the Star After stuff, depending on calls or whatever. But that's beside this point. But balance has dropped. Yeah, their balance has fallen greatly in usage. Like we'll just take a really quick look, right? Where's the force? Okay, top 32. I feel like Japan. I don't know if these are actually Japanese players or just people alting, but this guy seems like he's an actual Japanese player. It's top 32ing, like, but that's not enough. If you're going to the World Championships, you want to win. And these are some of the best players that we have in the game that are playing. And yeah, so with the uptick in sand usage, you're going to see Raichu, right? And you find that weird, right? People are like, wow, like why would people use Raichu when Tyranitar Astrodrome is a thing? It's just because of the simple fact that Raichu literally obliterates half the same competition comps because of the fact that it has Zap Cannon. The Zap Cannon is very annoying because of its effect and how much damage it does and the speed control that it gives after because it's obviously powering things. So you're not going to be able to do a lot of things with your Star Raptor, especially if you have that Raichu laying around. So yeah, Rocky Head Sash Arcanine has probably been one of the most annoying things to go against. I think, in my opinion, is one of the few annoying things to get, and then having that pair with the Raichu is like really annoying, right? This is hitting in the meta for pretty decent damage. Not having recall moves and not taking recall is kind of crazy. I don't think you really need Intimidate. You do have Star Raptor for Intimidate as well, so that really helps. Thank you so much for the follow. But there's no core. There's like a fighting psychic dark core, that fantasy. I think it's called a fantasy core, but like there's not really going on here. It's just strong Pokemon all put together, right? Kingambit is really strong and it has Swords Dance Life Orb. People have been using that. Only one fake out Pokemon, but I think that Raichu being one of the fastest fake out mons because it's faster than Sneasel is really good. So getting that off and being able to be in scenarios where you can click SD probably really strong with this kind of competition. I don't really know much besides that. Everything else seems self-explanatory. Sylveon, Fairy Feather, Hyper Voice, Hyper Beam, Quick Attack, standard sets for Rig, Citrus, Helping Hand, Trick Room. So this is a Tail Room team consisting of 2 Megas and a setup Pokemon and Arcanine that has a cool ability that people have adopted to use in Pokemon Champions that people have not been using Intimidate and they have been seeing a lot of value in Rocky Head and self-explanatory running moves like Flare Blitz and Head Smash and having Focus Sash. I think that Rocky Head is the best ability, and I think Arcanine is also in a good or decent speed tier, max speed, depending on how people train their Charizard. So your Arcanine could potentially just be faster than Charizard because people are opting for bulkier Charizards, and that's pretty good as well. And Raichu is also faster than Charizard. So there's a lot. You have a lot. You deal with a lot. The only thing I could see a problem with this team is probably potentially Rain teams, like Rain Swampert is definitely Swampert Rain. From the looks of it, seems like an issue. I think the dual weather team looks pretty good into this, but I could be wrong. Like I said, this is just first glance views. All right, so we'll go back to the VR. We'll take a look at their team. So this is a very interesting take on the Delphox stuff. Sub Delphox is back. Okay, so some people were opting to use sub very early on in Regulation MA before people realized that nasty plot was just major, right? Like major, 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 major. So seeing people go back to this is actually pretty dope. Pretty dope. But it makes sense, right? You don't have any fake out models in your team, so it's like you don't really need to set up. Having sub is pretty darn cool. But this is the first team that I've seen so far that has like that gimmicky, charm stuff with Star Raptor, and then end up placing really, really well. Because I personally never believed in the charm Star Raptor combination, but this player ended up making it work, right? Looking at the team, Chopple King Gamma just makes sense, right? There's an abundance of Star Raptor with CC. So you could use the boost, get the boost to your advantage, and still not die from close combat, which is really, really good. And just not die from CC in general, even if it's from Sneasler or any other fighting move. And then just have that longevity and also be able to dish out 4 attacks that I think are the best attacking move sets for King Gambit currently. I think it's the best, even from like Regulation MA. I thought this was the best set for King Gambit, and having obviously a item that gives you a little bit of longevity, whether it be that Focus Sash and or Chopper Berry, makes just a lot of sense because you want to be able to utilize the 4 moves and not just die in one turn. That's the idea. And having Kowtow, Iron Head, Low Kick, and Sucker Punch currently in the meta is very, very, very valuable, right? Glamora is back again. Glamora did see an uptick in usage in Regulation MA. Uh, Very early Charizard slap kind of vibes. You know what I mean? The people were slapping on Glamora on these Charizard teams, and it just worked. It just worked as a glue before opting to go for the double fairy with Whimsicott and Floette, I believe. Um, some people had Mega Glamora, and then I think that people just really valued longevity. Like I said, longevity makes just a lot of sense. The focus sash on the Glamora makes a lot of sense. You don't need to run it on the Gambit because you can just throw Chopper. So Glamora is very interesting. It definitely hits the meta for very good damage, right? Power Jump carrying Charizard, Sludge Bomb hitting opposing Whimsicots and or fairy types such as Floette. And then that Earth Power for coverage, hitting things like Gambit, Incineroar, or whatever. I mean, you have Power Jump for Incineroar, but uh, Earth Power is just solid coverage. Like we see it on Venusaurs a lot. So pretty dope Pokemon to use. And also let's not sleep on Toxic Debris. It it definitely plays a part a lot, especially on these slower paced teams. I would say like even the Sand team does not want to see Toxic Debris. It's pretty annoying to deal with because you don't really have a way to stop it. Yeah, Delphox. So sub being is really, 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 really cool. Usually people, it's always Psychic Heat Wave or Psych Shock, and then what, a filler move, Maxi Plot, sub, Encore, and this player opted for substitute. I don't want to give a reason why because I don't know why. But I'm assuming that it just made sense on this kind of competition on this comp, and yeah, and we'll go to Whimsicott. So Whimsicott, Akaberry. So interesting for the Akaberry. Surprise not. But is it Akaberry? That's the Fireberry, right? No, what's the Fireberry? Yeah, it's Aka, right? This is Akaberry. Gotta be Akaberry, right? Aka? It's Aka. Charm can work in the right situation, like charming opposing guard, charm or basket. Yeah, charm is decent. Charm is decent. It is Aka. Okay. Yeah. So this is very, very different from your normal Whimsicott, right? Usually people just opt for Moonblast, Encore, Tailwind, Protect. This player decided to opt for no Protect and 4 moves. So interesting on their team. The 2 non-protected Pokemon are Whimsicott and Kingambit. And usually with Whimsicott, you do want to opt for Protect because you don't want to be vulnerable to any type of fake out X attack. So Whimsicott can do Whimsicott stuff. But this player ended up winning the whole event without it. So I'm very interested to see how this team develops because I think I did see two of the same variants of this team in the top 12 of this VR tournament. So hopefully we'll get to it. They have the player that ran it. Then Garchomp is going to be your standard, you know what I mean? Life Orb, Jolly, just doing damage. And then the Star Raptor, pretty standard. Now, I would say very standard Star Raptor set. But yeah, yep. Any questions? I'm yapping. So I think Mava VGC is one of the creators of this team. A very, I don't know if they're Italian, but a very strong VGC player. I've had some good words with them. I think last season, and I have some very high respect for this player that I'm interested in the Mega Garchomp team. Yeah, we're gonna get to Mega Garchomp. I think Aka only works on light script. No, it makes sense, right? Longevity wise, like you're probably gonna eat a heat wave pretty well, especially the first one. And you have so much KO potential on Charizard on that team already. That we just saw, so it's good. Okay, so this team is back and probably better than ever. Why is it better than ever? Because of the pickup of Sand. This team has a pretty decent matchup into Sand. You have your own weather deterrent, so you could change weathers with the Frost Blast, which is really good. But it's not the fact that you could change weathers; it's the fact that you can burn physical type attackers. And Skull Villain being one of the Pokemon that has this ability when Mega is really good into the Sand archetype and having the likes of King Gambit, Steezler, and Basque Legion just to sum up the rest of the team into Sand is really good. So I think that this team coming back makes a lot of sense. Also has a pretty decent matchup into the meta. I think this team has been around since Revelation, I believe, MA, the first regional, and has still stood the test of time. Not really much to really talk about besides that. I know that the creator did make some EV changes for this regulation, so I believe it was Mava VGC, if I'm not mistaken. Momo was good. If you guys want to, inquire more about that, they have a Patreon, I believe, or something, and team report that you could probably pay and gain a lot of information from there. I'm not going to highlight this team too much, but shout out to Huang Ho for getting third. And Simone, we played Simone on stream. We played Simone on stream the other day. We ran a mirror match. We were running the same team as Simone, just a couple different changes. Simone has opted for no haze, no haze on the team, and probably opted for a more faster Goldengo for that mirror, right? Being able to KO potentially other Goldengos makes a lot of sense. You want to move first, especially in the mirror, and having 3 attack Milotic also makes a lot of sense. I think that Jarvis was also telling me about this as well, so pretty cool to see that players are still using the same team, but like making slight changes to better themselves in the mirror. And I think Sammy took that approach, and Sammy, being one of the best players in Pokemon in the world, is able to use standard teams and get a high placing, regardless of how players might uh, better their matchup into this team. At first glance, it just looks like, damn, like he just stole the same team, but there's obviously some changes. And low kick on T-Tar instead of high horsepower. Yeah, low kick on T-Tar makes a lot of sense. I think also it's just you're just a lot better into Gambit, and this team has a definite Gambit issue because you have to rely on the Star Raptor. Thank you so much, Luigi 89, for highlighting that. I didn't see that. That makes a lot of sense. Also, no EQ on Exegru yet. I think the creator also changed high horsepower to EQ, but Exegru is a Pokemon that it's just not the Pokemon that you really bring a lot. In my opinion, from personal experience, it's just not something that you just bring a lot into the matchups that you see. But you know, cool, it's cool. But this dropping haze makes a lot of sense. You're not playing ladder anymore. You're not running into like what was it called? The Hisuian Quillifish or whatever Quillifish Audino cheese kind of stuff. So you don't need haze in that matchup when you're playing in tournament. I don't think people would bring it in tournament. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And obviously the Goldingo's probably faster than the Milotic, just for the mirror. Oh, so this is the Mega Garchomp Interesting. This is the Mega Garchomp Sand stuff used by Jude Lee. Um, yeah, a lot of Chopper King Gambit. A lot of people opting for Chopper King Gambit. Just makes a lot of sense. When your Focus Sash is taken up, you don't have like Tailwind on your team. Obviously, Chopper probably is going to be one of your best items currently in the meta because of everybody having like a fighting type move. Everything. Star Raptor, Sneasler, you name it, having a fighting type move. And then we're seeing a lot of Ironhead coverage to deal with those fairy types. This is going to be like a this is gonna be timid Floette, so wanting to be faster than other Floette and potentially speed time Jolly Garchomps if needed. I think if you're running timid, you might as well be timid max just to have that opportunity to at least move faster than opposing Garchomps at neutral speed or where there's no tail involved. And helping hand is to supplement for not being able to hit hard with his Floette. And this Garchomp is really interesting and good in the meta currently because there's an abundance of sand teams, so you're able to utilize Garchomp's ability in sand to counteract with a lot of sand teams. So it's like basically sand teams are helping you. You have the Floette to deal with Staraptor pretty well, especially if you're able to get an Intimidate off with the likes of Incineroar. Fake out Helping Hand Cycle Sinistra with King Gambit is really good. We've seen this core again and again. I am someone that has been using Instant King Gambit, Sneasler, Sinistra religiously uh, in BGC currently in Regulation MB, MA, and it's just really strong. And having that Garchomp dual Mega mode that's really good in the sand is a really good option. And also opting for that Floette also makes a lot of sense as well. I think this is going to be one of the better teams heading into the format because I think it's not on people's radar as much as the other teams. And I think that a player that's really, really good fundamentally with balanced teams could pilot this easily and top cut. I want to say easily, but like if you know your damage rolls and you know your matchups, like this is probably a great team to bring for the event. Any meta developments? I think there's some progression in the meta actually, Sansky, what's good. We do see some progression in the meta a little bit. I want to talk about a couple of strong um, Pokemon that have been being paired together. We've been seeing an uptake in usage also in Ninetales as well, and I'm going to highlight that a little bit. I guess we'll talk about number 7, Sam Daniker. I don't know who this is, but it's probably somebody ulting. Uh, and like I said, we're seeing another Tailwind Star Raptor team with Goldango. Uh, so very similar to the Sand composition, but just a couple changes. You have Incineroar for Intimidate, and then you have that Rocky Head Arcanine that we were highlighting before. What are your thoughts on Mawile? I think Mawile is dog water. Um, and Ninetales is an interesting Pokemon. So you have Star Raptor. I think Star Raptor with Weather Control makes a lot of sense currently in the meta. And I do see some usage with Arcanine. Why would people run Mega Garchomp without Sand? Because people are running Sand. I think it's pretty strong without it. Don't get me wrong. I think this Pokemon is really strong without it, and the calcs on this thing is pretty good. And you also have coaching to boost its attack. Its defensive stats, Mega Garchomp's defensive stats is pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, so yeah, that's why I think people are opting for that. Yeah, and we'll talk about we'll talk about this team. I like this team a lot. So this is another strong team that I have not used, but I'm just saying that it's strong in my opinion, just off of glance. And I've seen people I think dabble with it just a bit. I think that Fairy Steel Dragon is really, really good. There's obviously two fairy types of this team. I mess with this team a lot. Yeah, Komomo. How did the kids say it? Komomo is that guy right now. You know, Komomo's kind of good. I think the battle room, I think highlighted this composition. This reminds me of Regulation MA Charizard slap, but this seems a lot stronger in my opinion. I could be wrong. This player did not opt for Chopper on King Gambit. I don't think they care too much about Staraptor because you have the Ninetales, and you don't care too much about Sneasler because you have things like Charizard, your own ones you got to get up Tailwind and Komodo as well that deal with it pretty well. But yeah, I like this team a lot. This team has been on my radar. I've been wanting to test it. You have like a bulky Zard. You have a bulky Zard, Lamora. I don't know if it's bulky. It's probably I would assume not. I think this is probably Max Max. This is Max Max as well. This is Max Max probably as well. Max Max Komomo and probably damn. You could use a bulky Gambit spread, but you could probably get away with that. This team spreads is probably self-explanatory. Light Pro Playing Scales goes hard here. You don't need to set up. You don't have room to set up with this team. This team is go bird. Talon go. Brrr, brrr. This is this Tailwind go bird. Very hyper offensive Tailwind team. The other, I think the other one had Roost as well. Oh, Encore over. Okay, noticeable changes. Encore over Sub and Roost, and this is Scarf Chomp. But it's everything's pretty much the same from the winning team, which is interesting. So this is probably another team. We only got a month before Worlds, and I could see people just opting into something. This might count, but I can see people opting into something like this as well. This seems strong. Star Raptor. I'm just so happy, guys, that Star Raptor is basically strong. Any flow at the top of it? Yeah, there were two or one. But there was a Watchhog too. I guess. Do I know this guy? Is it Watchhog and top 8 is fire. I got top 8 victory road. I lost my last one, but I'm still happy. That's crazy. That's funny. It's analytic. I don't think it's that bad actually. But where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? We'll take a look at the Watchdog team. Yeah, Scarf Charms are all strong Pokemon, but then you just add a Watchhog, and I think that the person's obviously good at Pokemon. You know what I mean? That's all I got to say. But just to kind of summarize it, like people are just using. Ooh, this is kind of spicy. What's this? So, oh, special Garchomp. Okay, that's cool. Special Garchomp is interesting. I like. Is this triple mech? Oh, no, don't mech. See a lot of Delphox Blastoise in top 32. Solar, what? Is that Raichu? What? What? Yo, people are telling you, bro, this meta it's not solved, bro. Special Chomp, Oko's Bulky Arch and Sand, that's fire. Watch Hog, team has White Herb Arrow, damn, man, he will cook. Raichu Mega X is crazy. What? That's crazy. I might want to try that. Everything else is Zard Slob, Blastoise, Delphox. I don't know. Ooh, this is interesting. Ooh, I like this. I like this. Cool. Yeah, this is all Zard Slob. GG's. GG's. I'm just happy Star Raptor. Star Raptor. I think the one thing to take away from this is that Star Raptor. Are there any good Mega Floette teams that aren't Zard? Yeah, there's one right here. There's one right here. This Mega Garchomp. I wonder if there's spreads for this team. I wonder if there's any spreads for this team. I would definitely use it. I would definitely use it. That Mega Arrow Charizard Sylveon has fell off. Yeah, I think people. I think it has like a not so great of a matchup into some of the stuff that I've been. But you know what though? It could definitely Raptor Loki at front. It's not, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. It's not. I'm gonna be real. It's not fraud. It's not fraudulent, but the way people were trying to use it, in my opinion, early on, seemed a little like forced. Like it was like, bro, you're doing too much. Like the Pokemon is good by itself, but then again, a person won with using charm on their Whimsicott and having that star after. So key like Pokemon that are like super crazy in usage, that I think that are really good going into World Championships that people should have an eye on, in my opinion, so far has been Ninetales. I think Ninetales is really interesting. What else is really good? I'm looking at Mega Raichu Y, and I think potentially X. If Polar Web is using X, then I believe that it has some use case, but I think that Lele probably is the creator of that team from what I saw. I think I saw this team, but I think Lele's the creator. Uh, yeah. Star Rapper definitely found its footing, which is really nice to see. But yeah. All right. Enough yapping about VR. Appreciate everybody being here. Let's